Hi Taurus, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol and this is going to be a general reading for July 2025. And on today's reading we're going to be doing the Yellow Cardinal Cross. And so I'm going to begin with using the Ehrenberg Tarot. I'm going to pull cards from that, and then I'm going to use the Radiant Rider Waite to clarify. And then at the end, well, I'll pull it at the beginning actually, but I'll read it at the end, is the Return of Spirit Oracle card. I'll pull one of those. So let's get started right away with looking at what issue, situation, struggle, could be a pattern that's showing up this month. So let's have one card for that for you, one card for Taurus, for the issue that they're sitting with this month, July 2025. And you have the Strength card in reverse. And then what I want to do is look at a second card right away that's going to clarify this, or even going to show me it's obscuring it, maybe blocking it. So can I have one card that's will tell me a lot about this Strength card and what's really affecting it right now? We have the Queen of Swords in reverse. So two cards in reverse. Let's look at, in spot number 3, I want to look at the conscious influence on this situation that you're dealing with right now, which means it's going to be an influence, something that's influencing it, but you're aware of it. You may not be. When I bring it up, you'll go, okay, yeah, I recognize that's what's going on. So it's something that you're aware of. You'll kind of go, okay, yeah, you're right. So this is the conscious influence on this. One card for that, please. That one flipped. So you have the Nine of Wands in reverse. What's the unconscious influence? And this is really important because the unconscious is what is really manifesting the majority of these external patterns, our cycles that we go through in life, our problems, our issues. It's all going to come from the unconscious, which is our shadow. It's that stuff that's coming up for us to heal, and that is what's going to affect everything. And it's actually going to be related to the conscious influence over here. So let's take a look at what's the unconscious influence for the situation that that you're sitting with right now. One card for that. Well, you have the Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles that's sitting here in your shadow. At the top, we're going to look at what's needed for resolution. One card for that. What's needed for resolution here for Taurus? What's needed for resolution for Taurus? You have the Eight of Wands in reverse. At the bottom, we have what? Guidance from the Tarot. Guidance from the Tarot. The Two of Cups. Two of Cups in reverse. Let's take out some clarifiers here. Can I have one card for these middle two cards? Tell me more about the Strength and the Queen of Swords in reverse. You have the Five of Swords. Tell me more about this Nine of Wands. Couple cards. Oh, I don't want it to come out. So you have the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Swords in reverse. 3 nines. 3 nines here. Yeah. Wow. Okay. The unconscious influence, the Six of Pentacles, please. A couple cards for that. the Hermit card in reverse, and the Hanged Man. And it's upright. Always have to look on that one. 8 of Wands, couple cards for that, please. Tell me more about the 8 of Wands. One. Don't think that other one flipped. No. Okay, one more. The 8 of Wands, there we go. Okay, so you have the King of Swords in reverse, Knight of Swords in reverse, and the 2 of Cups in reverse. Couple cards. Okay, you have the Page of Pentacles. Looks like it was, I think that was in reverse. And then the 5 of Cups. That was kind of, put it right here. I think it was in reverse, but we'll put it right there. And then let's pull an oracle card for you, and I'll read it at the end. Let me just pull it now. Okay. Big surprise at the end. So let's start off with what situation you're dealing with this month, July 2025, Taurus. Well, first card that comes out is the Strength card in reverse. So Strength card talks about a card that really focuses on our inner strength. It's, you know, usually that picture of the Ehrenberg Tarot. This particular deck likes to take a snapshot of the Rider-Waite, and so we can hear, this is taking a picture of the woman's dress with this, her lion medal on here, and it shows normally in the Rider-Waite of her prying open the mouth, right, of the lion, and it's like prying open the mouth of the Pandora's box and allowing all those emotions to come up and feel. But there's a real effort on your part to keep that Pandora's box closed, to not pry open that lion's mouth and allow any of those emotions to come out. And that alone takes a heck of a lot of energy in our system. We often wonder why we're so tired sometimes, because it takes a lot of energy in us to push things down. That's where the energy comes in, and the fatigue. And so there's really a part on you that just does not, you know, I think you may have a big fear, or just feel like you just don't have the strength to go inwards and deal with these emotions and feel these emotions maybe are stirring with you. But you have the Queen of Swords right behind it. And this is a feminine, the Queen is a feminine aspect to us. We have a masculine and a feminine side. It has nothing to do with our gender. But this particular feminine quality talks about this sword right here. See how it's right between, it's almost like her third eye, right? Her intuitive third eye here. And it's like her getting back to, you getting back to your authentic self. This is all about authenticity. So there's a real, I guess, universal pull here, wanting you to go inwards and feel some of these emotions that you've been trying to push down, because there's a call here to get back to who you are, right? Trying to get, you know, peel away some of these layers of our trauma, of our emotions, these big emotions we've been carrying around, because underneath all of that is you. And the last card here that comes in and really tells me a lot is the Five of Swords in reverse. In an upright position, this speaks about this individual who has just won this battle, and you can see that it's just like, look at the clouds, how they're kind of all jagged, and there's just like a lot of not nice things going on in this picture. There's something not right, and this is what I call my bullying card, because at the back you can see this individual right here. It's this real real small individual at the back, and they feel small. They're covering their head with their hands, and because they're full of a lot of shame. They've been bullied, and this card is in reverse here, and so I think there's a real fear on your part to really deal with, maybe you have been bullied when you were younger. Maybe you're in a situation where you're being bullied now. I mean, we can be bullied at work. We can be bullied by family members. We can be bullied by our own children. We can be bullied by our spouses, our partners. Or it's got something to do with bullying, because there's a lot of shame here that is, I think, that needs to be healed. And there's a real fear on your part, or resistance to going to look at some of that shame. And out of all the emotions, shame is really shitty. It starts with SH, and because I always say that it's such a really shitty emotion. We don't go around talking about shame, but we all carry it. Every single person on this planet has shame, and we're not born with shame, and it's something that's just handed to us from people when we were younger, right? Because they carried it themselves, and so it's like this generational thing that's handed down to us, and so we have to really start looking at that and seeing how you're shaming yourself, or blaming yourself, or shitting on yourself, or this is what shame is. And so I think there's a real call in this reading, and it seems to be a real theme for this month coming up in a lot of my readings, about the shame coming up and having to deal with that. And so, so that's where you're sitting. So what's the conscious influence on this situation that's, bringing up shame for you and not feeling like you have the strength to deal with it? And we have the Nine of Wands here, and see how this individual, again, this is, a pic of the Nine of Wands, and this is the individual with the bandage on his head, right? Just peering through. And I'm thinking, though, maybe it's you. It's kind of like, I think you're consciously aware that maybe you have been through a lot when you were younger. You're conscious. This is also like a boundary card of, of someone needing to put up boundaries. And I think to a certain degree, you may have put up walls around you, because it's in reverse here. And I see, this is kind of in an upright position. The Nine of Wands talks about this need for you to put these boundaries, to set them up. But it's in reverse, so it tells me that I'm wondering if that, you have created these walls around yourself to protect yourself. And that's what we do sometimes. Because if we're not taught how to set boundaries as an adult, we don't know how to do it, and so we just kind of learn to put walls up, because to set a boundary with somebody would be too difficult and involve too many emotions and all these feelings of fear and guilt and shame to try to do that. So yeah, and behind it is this Nine of Cups, and so again, like I said, I think you're aware that you put up these walls, and this card kind of tells me a lot as well, because we're just at the 9 here, the 9 of Cups. There's also a 10 of Cups, and so you haven't reached this full cycle of this suit. Instead, this individual has taken all his 9 of Cups, and Cups talks about our emotions, and put them like they're trophies, right? And set them all up, and crossed his arms and said, you know what? I'm not dealing with my emotions. I'm completely shut down. Or it could be somebody that says, I'm healed. I don't want to touch my emotions anymore. And that's what happens when we put these walls around ourselves. We're trying to protect ourselves. And in doing that, we shut all our emotions down so people don't hurt us, right? I call that my spiritual bypasser card, because there's one more cup left. In 10 of Cups is when we have that full range of emotion, and we're not afraid to feel our emotions. They come in, we process them, and then we let them go. Emotions are supposed to come in, we process them, and they flow out. But here you've kind of like, no, I'm not touching them anymore. And yet the 9 of Swords is right behind it, and this tells me a lot. It talks about this individual that is up at night a lot, maybe nightmares, having trouble sleeping, I often refer to this card as like memories are coming up. Memories are surfacing here. There's something for you to deal with, but it's in reverse. And so it's like, nope, not dealing with it. So it really tells me that there's a lot of really kind of pushing everything down, blocking everything out, self-protection, right? That's what we do to protect ourselves from being hurt again. And so let's take a look at what's sitting in your unconscious. This is what is needing healing. This is what's coming up for healing. And, you know, it's like it's bubbling up to the surface and you're just kind of, nope, not touching it. No, I'm not going there. And so what is it? We have the Six of Pentacles is the first one. And the Six of Pentacles, sixes in my deck, first of all, represent this duality. And remember, this is from your childhood. This is from when you were a teenager. And the Six of Pentacles refers to a lot of, have these coins that are being weighed out and given out to these people that were begging for these Six of Coins. And so this card really speaks a lot about our self-worth and how much we think we're worth. If we feel very little about ourselves, this is what's going to come in for us. It's like this giving and receiving what you think about yourself. So there's some real unworthiness, shame that is sitting right here in your shadow that's coming up for healing. That there's something from your childhood that has made you feel very unworthy. And I don't think you feel like you have the strength to go and look at whatever that is. You have the Hermit card that comes right after it. And it's in reverse again. And the Hermit talks about, going inwards and taking that time out to feel. Taking that time out to truly do what is needed to feel these big emotions that are coming up. This is sitting in your shadow. So this is when you were younger. You didn't have time. You weren't supported or validated when you were younger. You didn't have time, weren't allowed to feel the shame. It's something that you could have been from different things that has happened to you, trauma when you were younger, where you just over time, because of what happened to you, you had all of this shame of who you were, of not feeling like you were worthy enough. And the Hangman talks about someone that's very, very comfortable in their own skin. They're hanging upside down. They feel safe. They feel comfortable. There's no pain here. Well, it's buried in your shadow. And so I'm thinking that this just was not a safe environment for you to be able to feel this shame, these big emotions that were handed down to you when you were younger. And so now when they're coming up, it's like sometimes we feel like we're back in childhood again, where you don't feel it's safe. I can't do this. I don't have the strength to do this. I don't have the strength to look at this. But you do. You got the strength card. And you're an adult now. You're not a child anymore. Sometimes we can think that we're still a child and we're still back. We get triggered, right? If something that's triggering us now will bring us back to this childhood part here. So what's needed for resolution for you, Taurus? Well, you have the Eight of Wands here, and it's in reverse, and this person's like grabbing a hold of this wand, and it's like the Eight of Wands talks about this real focus. Usually has these 8 parallel wands that are flying out in the air, and there's a real focus here, and it's like making a commitment, right? Deciding that this is your focus, and it's in reverse here. And so I'm seeing that there's just really you're having a real difficult time focusing on this, making this your goal, giving it what it needs, the time that it needs, because you have a king right behind it. And the King of Swords is coming in, right? The king is our masculine side. It'll be the ego. Your ego is coming in with this sword and saying, don't you dare go inwards. Don't you dare go inwards to try to heal this shame. Don't go poking around with this sword. The sword talks about getting to our authenticity, the sword of our truth. the sword that's going to cut through all our bullshit. And the king is going, no, no, because it's a very scared part, our ego. Ego doesn't want to touch emotions. It's only worried about status quo. It thinks you're still in childhood. Don't do it. It's not a safe place. But it forgets that you're an adult now. Our ego self thinks that we're still a child. And so it's going, no, no, no. And so that's what's keeping you really all confused and keeping you up in your head. Is not one part of your ego self wants you to go into your body to feel these emotions. And you got the Knight of Swords that's right behind it. And the Knight talks about that part of us that wants freedom from oppression, freedom from this pain. It has the sword in its hand. It wants to go. It wants to go towards your authenticity, away from this oppression, away from this pain. And so you've got this king pulling it, telling you no. You've got this knight pulling you in this direction. So guess what this creates? When you got a king and a knight right beside each other in my deck, you got a heck of a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. You know, there's this part of you that wants to grab onto this wand and go and put yourself first and go towards this. There's a heck of a lot of anxiety here that is stopping you. And I think what's needed for resolution is that you realize what part the ego self is playing in all of this and how it's telling you, don't do this, don't go there. And then this other part that's tearing at you. So you've got these two parts at play, and that's what's causing your anxiety. So the guidance from the tarot, what do you do now with this, full of this anxiety? Well, the guidance of the tarot says, here's the Two of Cups. It's in reverse right now. Two of Cups speaks about this real intimate, this exchange of cups, exchange of emotions, a real intimate relationship. But it's just the two. So it's the beginning of an authentic relationship, beginning of a really healing relationship. But it's not talking about with another person. It's talking about, it's time to have this real intimate relationship with yourself, Taurus. It's time now that you go inwards and you start to find out, okay, what is this that happened to me? Why do I have all this shame? Why am I carrying all this shame? What's this fear? Why do I have so much fear around, going inwards and finding out what's going on with me right now? And you have this little Page of Pentacles that's showing up. And the page is, in my deck, there's 4 of them. These are our inner children. And in particular, this is the Page of Pentacles. This is the one that carries the pentacle. The pentacle is a real grounded suit. And in order for us to be grounded, we have to be in our body. The pentacle represents our body. And believe it or not, when you were 4, 5, 6 years old, you had a younger part of you, an inner child, that was very much in their body. But when big things happen to us, trauma happens to us, things happen to us, we get pulled out of our body from our ego, and we get up in our head, and we no longer live in our body. And so this inner part of you is holding on to a lot of your memories here, holding on to some of your trauma, holding on to, maybe things that happened to you when you were younger. I journal a lot to my inner children, and I talk with them and I ask them, what's going on here. You end up with the 5 of Cups, and this is in reverse because I think, it's time that you really look at what's going on here. You have these 3 of Cups that have spilled. It's like you've been focusing so long on something when that's not what you need to focus on. It's like you have this cloak over you. Maybe you've been focusing on your loneliness. Maybe you've been focusing on, there's been some depression or some real ungrounded anger that's sitting here that you need to get at. And yet you don't see these other 2 cups that are still standing. You don't see the silver lining, that bridge over there. You don't see that there's a body of water that's flowing, that's representing our emotions, because you've been focused too long on something. Like I said, ungrounded anger, your depression, your loneliness. What is it you've been focusing on for too long? Because look what it's done to you, right? It's finally like done you in. And it's time for you to turn that around right now. And so I'm going to leave you, Taurus, with, I'm going to leave you with a video on, some videos on depression. And there's some videos on there about I think what I'll do is I'll leave you with videos on journaling instead, because that'll help you with your inner child. There's some videos on there with helping you with your depression as well, and journaling from your depression. All right, so we'll do journaling. I'm going to read your card right now. You ended up getting the card that's on the front cover, Return of Spirit card. So you've come a long way in your journey. No, it hasn't been easy, but you've made it through. Acknowledge for just a moment the strength and courage that you have discovered within you. See how much you have grown over this time, slowly blossoming into who you are today. This is the card of triumph, heartfelt connection, and mastery. Hold your head high and feel proud of who you are. Drawing this card signifies a renewal of the heart, the mind, and spirit. This is a time of manifesting your highest will. It's a time of truly stepping onto your path with confidence in what you are here to do and how you are to do it. And that's taking that 8 of Wands, right? The true greatness of who you are is ready to express itself fully. Now you can experience true empowerment, deep heartfelt connections with others, and a feeling that all is right in your world. You have done the work, so you deserve it. This is your own sacred return to spirit. And I think this is a real call for you to get back to your spirit and who you were, who that inner child is when you were younger. And so I want you, Taurus, to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through right now. This healing journey is the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. So I'll talk soon. Talk to you next month. Bye-bye.